The NCAA cross country always promises excitement, with the unique aspect of a team competition as well as an individual race. This year is no different in the men and women's. On the men's side, you have 4 of the last year's top 5 no longer in the NCAA, which put 4th place Charles Hicks as the best of last year's results. He was also our pre-race favourite. Followed by NAU's Nico Young. Another Stanford athlete, Kai Robinson, was our 3rd place prediction, and a home advantage Alex Meyer ranked 4th. Others in contention were Victor Kiprop and last year's 10,000 metre NCAA champion Dylan Jacobs. On the women's side, 2 runners stood out pre-race, who were Katelyn Tuohy and Parker Valby. Mercy Chilanga, Seal McCabe and Taylor Rowe were who we predicted to be their strongest competition. It was hard to overlook one team for the title, which was last year's winners, NC State, and we believed pre-race that both teams would also have the individual who won the race in Charles Hicks for Stanford and Katelyn Tuohy for NC State. Before we break down the women's race, I just want to say one of my biggest annoyances with cross country, especially in the NCAAs, is that the distance is never what it says, especially on the TV stream, as it had the women going through 200 metres in 22 seconds and 400 metres in 57 seconds. The race was pretty straightforward for the first 1500 to 2000 metres, and then Parker Valby started to pull away, seeming to gather a large gap very quickly. It was quite shocking to see Katelyn Tuohy sit back and not go with Parker, considering that there was a large group still together behind Parker Valby, suggesting that the pace wasn't too fast. At 2 miles, I already thought Parker Valby was too far ahead to be caught, especially with the pace Valby has. The stream split times didn't do Valby justice because the gap was much more than what it said on the stream. Tuohy started to chase around the halfway mark, so 3,000 metres into the race, and 1,500 metres to go, Tuohy was absolutely flying. She eventually caught Parker Valby with 400 metres to go, and as you should always do if you catch a runner, you should go straight past, and that is exactly what Tuohy did, into the downhill finish, where she pulled away by 3 seconds to become the NCAA champion. NC State did win the women's title as well, they were favourites to do so, and in the end the score was pretty convincing, even though for a while it looked like Alabama or New Mexico could have taken the title. In the men's race, at the front, instantly we saw all the main contenders. 1k in, Nico Young was pushing the lead, with the first 1k split being a 2:39. Suddenly the race was single file with many gaps already appearing. With Nico still pushing, the lead at the front was now only 3 runners, Young, Hicks and Bosley. Drew Bosley and Nico Young seemed to have some pre-race team tactic, pushing the race together, either taking it in turns or running side by side. Hicks remained tucked in 3rd behind the 2 NAU runners. And this was the gap after 12 minutes. And the gap at halfway gave a similar story to the women's. I couldn't see anyone else other than the front 3 winning this race, and now the top 2 teams were BYU and NAU after some Stanford runners had dropped off. 8k in, the gap had remained roughly the same as what we saw at 5k, and for the first time Hicks went to the front to push the pace. At 9k, it was Hicks and Young who pulled away from Drew Bosley, whilst Hicks powered up the hill, getting a small gap on Nico Young, but not big enough to break him. And at around 400 metres to go, Nico Young had caught back up to Hicks. It was Hicks who got the better of Nico Young and managed to power away in the closing 200 metres, becoming the NCAA cross-country champion. It was a lot of drama in the team event as OSU and NAU tied with 83 points. Sadly for OSU on their home course, NAU did win on a tie break, which is even more heartbreaking because 2 OSU runners finished together in quite a big pack. They could have easily gained or lost a few places within a matter of hundredths of seconds.